existence of Mali. On Thursday, Mali's government asked France for help in fighting the insurgents. The request came after the rebels took the northern town of Kona following 2 days of fighting, which is a major setback for government forces. Kona is about 600 kilometers northeast of the capital, Bamako.
We are faced with a blatant aggression. I have decided that France will respond alongside our African partners to the request of the Malian authorities. It will be ready to stop the terrorists if they pursue their offensive.
On Thursday evening, the UN Security Council held an emergency meeting to address Bamako's request for assistance faced with the rebels' new advances. The Malian army has fought back the offensive with support of European forces, which are reportedly French.
These events underscore once again the need for the rapid deployment of an African force in Mali and of the training mission of the European Union.
In Bamako, political instability is on the rise. For 2 consecutive days, protesters have been demanding that transitional President Diankunda Traoré step down.
It is the expression of the people through a national conference that will determine the legitimacy and legality of the regime that will lead to the transition in our country.
Interim President Diankunda Traoré is expected to meet with French President François Hollande in Paris next Wednesday. Paris has called on all its non-essential personnel in Mali to leave the country.
Well, latest reports monitored by Grts indicate that French troops have already begun operations in northern Mali, with President Hollande saying that the intervention by his troops will last as long as is necessary. Well, thousands gathered in Caracas, the capital of Venezuela, to show solidarity with their absentee president, who is recuperating in a Cuban hospital. The rally was held a day after the Supreme Court ruled that the inauguration of President Chavez was postponed indefinitely. As we hear in the CFI report, left-wing leaders from all over Latin America were also at hand to support the Bolivarian revolution.
Hugo Chavez, who is in hospital in Cuba following cancer surgery, was celebrated in the streets of Caracas Thursday. His portrait was posted all over the city as Venezuelans took part in a giant rally. The rally pledged their allegiance to their leader, whose inauguration for a new term in office is postponed indefinitely. Venezuela's Supreme Court ruled that Hugo Chavez can take an oath of office at a later date, and the actual government can remain in place.
Commander Hugo Chavez, take it easy. Keep up your battle, because here you have a Bolivarian government and a revolutionary people.
Despite Hugo Chavez's absence, left-wing leaders from all over Latin America were in Caracas to support the Bolivarian revolution. The presidents of Bolivia, Nicaragua and Argentina's foreign minister attended the rally.
The Argentine people will be with you as long as necessary, until President Hugo Chavez returns. We are with you. We support you as you have supported the Argentine people. Long live Chavez and long live Venezuela.
Cuba, where Hugo Chavez is being treated for a serious lung infection, is showing the same solidarity. But no pictures of the Venezuelan president have been shown recently in Cuba.
A protest between opposition supporters and police turned violent in Togo after the government there denied the opposition license to hold a rally. And one of the most powerful pirates in Somalia announces his retirement. We have details of those and other stories in this African News Roundup.
Security forces were deployed for a second day in the Togolese capital to stop the opposition from holding a rally that the government had banned. The 3-day protest, scheduled to begin yesterday, turned violent after protesters threw stones at police, who responded by firing tear gas. At least 20 people were injured, 18 were arrested. The activist group Save Togo is demanding electoral reforms. Parliamentary elections were supposed to have been held in October, but were postponed because of disagreements with the government over opposition demands for reform. Joint military maneuvers between Côte d'Ivoire and Liberia have ended. For the last 10 days, Ivorian and Liberian troops taking part in Operation Golden Gate carried out maneuvers along their shared border, where armed militias are active. The goal is to bolster security in the area through the deployment of more troops and artillery to protect the population, which comes under frequent attacks by armed groups. Living in exile far from their homes, these women have stories to tell. They are being heard by Michelle Bachelet, the head of UN Women. These women, who fled the north, describe the humiliations and brutality they endured at the hands of the Islamists, everything from being arrested for not wearing a veil to gang rape.
I have listened to your stories. Human rights abuses of women in the northern part of Mali are unacceptable and must be stopped and punished.
The Chilean president expressed her wish that these women play a major role in the restoration of peace in Mali. Dressed in black and sporting Ray-Bans, he looks more like a businessman than a buccaneer. And yet Mohammed Abdi Hassan, also known as Big Mouth, was one of the most powerful pirates in Somalia. The good news is that he has announced his retirement. He is credited with having launched one of the most daring attacks in the last few years, capturing a Ukrainian vessel carrying arms and tanks. He released the ship for a ransom of $3 million. He has prospered from the trafficking of the narcotic khat. After he agreed to dismantle his network, he received a diplomatic passport.
Well, time now to take another break. When we come back, we'll take a look at sports. Stay tuned in.
ci jonge épices say marinade dina neex ba yokk sa appétit ak jonge épices jongeel ba sës jongeel ba faw ni jongeel ba ca biir cin.
Start your day with Armonti, pure margarine with the best ingredients. Also ideal for frying and baking. Every day, an Armonti day.
Ak épices naturelles yi ci jonge super doré. Say gruyère ak say ceeb day gën a doore te di nga am cëfka bu amul fenn. Jongeel ba sës, jongeel ba faw, ni jongeel ba ca biir cin.
Production inin na banko president bala bunyare bakoto His Excellency Sheikh Professor Dr. Alhaji Yaya AJJ Jammeh me yalon ka tele mun na banko president wolle be kulli bakala ila album ole ba fala meye ko fatale ku sa rew ke hakilo bulande ila banko la nyimu album kuta kutalati me yalon ko imina wala kulli la na jali ngaral men yalon ko wolle be mabe la nyun kulli yoto wolle mu jali ba ku yatati Yusuf Ngom Modou Karage Sambu Suso Tafa Artist anin Jalex akuntu fatale ku sa rew ke hakilo bulandi ila banko la mu album leti me yalon ko me ya dépense wollem na banko president bati His Excellency Sheikh Professor Dr. Alhaji Yahya AJJ Jammeh abe na sibitu ngole fe January karoti tang anim fula abe datla talanse suto katawe santola ibakala le Kairaba Beach Hotel le nyimbe kala si manko di nyidi bentulu mbaleti me yalon ko anyonte siyala ja ila tabulol dabe larentenne platinum wuli talulu diamond wuli tanani gold wuli tansaba silver wuli muwang bronze wuli tang bitum mo konkilinal wolbe wuli kiline jola burka joroke aninka plaso muta jenni bafala ko January karoti ni nani jumalungo Betawi Production anila album kuto me mina kullile bafala ko nyadi fatalu ko sa rew e hakilo bulandi ila bankola.
Welcome back, and time now to join my colleague Famara Fofana for a look at the sports news.
Thank you very much, Fatu. Our focus is on one of the biggest games in this weekend, and that is Manchester United and Liverpool. Their recent fortunes have been very different, but Sir Alex Ferguson claims Manchester United's matches against Liverpool are important as ever. The two most successful clubs in England football history go head-to-head Sunday, with United looking to extend their lead at the top of the Barclays Premier League table. Liverpool are down 8. Senan's Pedro Pinto sat down with his colleague Alex Thomas to preview one of the glamorous games in English football.
The game at Old Trafford on Sunday. And I'm really